Woodblind, welcome to the playlist.
Thank you for having us.
Yay. Thank you so much. I'd like you each to introduce yourself and tell me what the other one brings to this duo.
Oh.
Jason, you start.
I start. So I have to introduce Veiko?
Yes.
Okay, this is Veiko Lepisto, and he brings many awesome basses that work really well when you plug them in, and he understands old ska and swing and how to have a good time every time you play and make a good campfire meal at the end of the night if you're camping after a gig, and can sleep in a tarp apparently in the rain. I don't know, he's pretty adaptive.
Important skills. Yeah. You want to introduce this
guy? This is Jason Wusso. Jason is a generally awesome guy, a raconteur of Duluth, truly an important figure, should be recognized. He's become a dear friend through the years. He loves music. Yeah, I've never met another man who has as much passion for music as Jason has. So it's a burning desire in him, and his energy is really great and fun to Brown. Our personalities work just right. So we're going to keep doing this until he tells us to quit, and then we'll keep doing it anyway.
So tell me how this sound came together for you guys.
Well, I was living in Los Angeles for many, many years, and my parents are from here. Mom actually was born in St. Luke, so I would come back between tours or on a vacation or during the holidays to see my parents. So I would go to Beaner's, which Jason owns, because it's the only place. My mom's coffee sucks, and Jason's had great coffee. So we would go and talk, and he'd be playing music, and I'd recognize some song. We'd strike up a conversation about music, and we discovered our love for music. We've both been in bands. We'd actually, this kind of same conversation occurred like over a period of like 10 years. So I moved back here about a year and a half ago, and we continued to have that conversation longer than 2 weeks. And in about a month in, I started bugging him, let's start playing. Because he loves ska and I love ska music, and nobody up here is really doing that. So I figured it might be a fun niche and be a creative outlet, and probably get the style.
So how did you imprint on ska? Because ska is part of your tradition too.
Way back, Matt Norby, if anyone knows that guy, he bakes cheesecakes down at Pizza Luce, and we had we started a band called Flux Capacitor way back in high school, like in '95 or '94, and he had all this old Jamaican recordings. I don't know why this 17-year-old from Alexandria had 1960s recordings of Desmond Decker and Toots and the Maytals, and I didn't like it at first. I was like, this sounds crappy. It's like, sounded so old, but then I just started liking it, and then I started going to ska shows and playing and opening up for like the Scotalites and the Pie Tasters, and then that was it. It's like, this is fun music and everyone's dancing.
Yeah. So. It's a funny story. Jason was in Norman Pogo. I used to be in a band called Royal Crown Review, and we were touring, and he almost opened up for us in Cincinnati at a place called Bogart's.
Yeah.
So our paths almost crossed. It was that close. It was
one day off.
Yeah, one day off. Like, that was probably 10 years ago now.
I was super excited. Veiko was in this band, the Royal Crown Review, and I love that band, and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy and the Cherry Poppin' Daddy. So,
the great swing scene of LA like 15, 20 years ago, when the movie Swingers came out, that was really, really huge. It was a national scene. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of that, and got signed to Warner Brothers and had a really good ride.
In ska and swing, they'd always bill a ska band. If they couldn't there's only so many swing bands, so that's why I lucked out, because First Ave and 7th Street Entry would be like, well, there's only 3 ska bands in Minnesota, so we just got called all the time, and it was so fun.
So I asked you about the vocalizations. How do you learn to do that, or where does that come from?
Well, it's just called toasting. You can listen to it.
We're just making it up. We're making our own weird noises up.
Yeah.
Just goofing around.
We're trying to be a drummer, basically, called ska box.
See, Veiko's so the toast is more like, and Veiko's got the percolators.
Like that. So the percolator would be playing on the hi-hat, like that, and the is so it's a bass drum in the right hand part. So we're kind of imitating a drum would have, since there are only 2 of us. So that's where it comes from. It's called toasting.
You get a lot of sound out of 2 guys.
Well, thank you. We're trying.
That's pretty cool. So tell me what you're working on next. What's the next project?
Well, we got a 7-inch vinyl coming out at the end of November, with Big Voice was our single, and we also got the chance to do the B-side with Teagle X. We produced and recorded one of his songs called the Working Man
And
song.
you sang on the record.
Sang on it. It was really funny. He was a great guy to work for, super cool, and we had a really nice time. We took our time with the singles, and really about 4 months from recording all the songs and mixing and going back and using a lot of critical listening and, you know, really checking ourselves to make sure it sounded, everything was working, there wasn't too much, wasn't too little. We were communicating the energy that we wanted to, opposed to just like, okay, let's get it done, you know. So it was been a real pleasure. That's what we've gotten. We're touring and we're trying to tour and locally and playing a
We're
lot.
going to Virginia, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think the sky's the limit. Thank you very much
Well, thank
for
you very
taking
much.
your time. Good luck.
Thank you.